Hey everybody, welcome to PC Perspective. I'm Ryan Shrout, joined by Alan. Thanks for coming on again. You know, walking all the way from your desk over here to the studio. We have another SSD to talk about. Another SSD. I thought we were done.
No. They keep being made.
This one's a little bit more interesting, if only because of the
name?
The name and kind of the direction of things. This is the AMD Radeon series of SSDs. No, not a graphics card. That's what I brought over for the prop because when you said Ken said we were going to do a Radeon video, I just grabbed a card.
Is this an R7?
That is an R7 250.
Oh.
Okay.
Luckily, that's an R7 480.
This is an R7 240.
No, it's a 480.
480 gig.
Yes.
Right. So AMD, as they have done a couple times in the past, are getting into other markets. They released Radeon branded memory, which was really memory that was DDR3 memory that they released, kind of paired well with their APUs, and they could claim it would accelerate their platforms. Obviously, that memory would work in any DDR3 system, and these SSDs will work in any PC.
Sure.
They don't have to be AMD-based systems. But what's interesting about this is their partnership with OCZ. OCZ is making these drives for them.
They are.
AMD's not getting into SSD manufacturing or anything. What is the relationship? What are we looking at here? What components are from OCZ? We're talking about an OCZ controller, Toshiba flash. What are we looking at?
Yes. All of that. Okay. All of those. Barefoot M00 controller, which is one generation behind the M10.
Okay.
But performs very similar.
Okay.
The same kind of flash. So it's using I think this ARC had the A19 nanometer, right? And then that guy has the same.
Yep.
So
19 nanometer flash in both of these drives.
In
so
both of those
the ARC
drives
was just out last week or a couple of weeks ago. And that's kind of
this is slower.
OCZ's budget SSD, their newer, lower cost SSD.
Yep. It's budget, and in testing, the ARC is a little bit slower.
Okay. So this is, I mean, it's interesting. AMD chose the R7 brand. If you are a graphics nerd, if you know anything about GPUs, the R7 and the R9 series differentiate in terms of what your performance levels are.
Right.
This is an R7 240 branded SSD. I don't really know how far they're going with the branding schemes and how many different brands there may be of that. But so this is better performing than the OCZ ARC 100.
Yes.
Okay. Where does it kind of fit into the general rule of SSDs, right? What are we kind of looking at?
So as far as warranty goes?
Anything, right? Performance, warranty, other specs.
So with the way the Barefoot controller works, most of the performance stuff, you're talking razor-thin margins, right? So in some tests...
Between different families of SSDs.
No, I'm saying like within, for the same controller, but within different named families. Like you have Vertex, Vector, ARC, right? They're all pretty close.
Okay.
So, but then again, a lot of those margins are pretty close even when you start throwing other drives in. But you can tell, especially so with these, because if you look on like the IO meter tests, the Barefoot controller has this little kind of Z pattern it gives you in the ramp up. Usually it's a smooth ramp up, and that's actually kind of a negative because at Q depth of 4, anything with Barefoot doesn't ramp up as smoothly as it should.
Okay.
Right?
As other controllers.
As other controllers do.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's kind of a signature, right? It kind of gives it away. It's like, oh yeah, that's a Barefoot controller, right? You could tell just by looking at the chart. So they're all pretty good, but where the segmentation really lies is the price, obviously, right? Yep. So you have the ARC is really low cost per gig, and then it's supposed to go from the perception we're getting is that once that comes down off of MSRP and actually gets to the retail prices.
Right.
I think it's going to be ARC. Let's see, Vertex.
Then Radeon.
Radeon R7. And then Vector. Vector is like OCZ's kind of almost enterprise.
Right.
It's not enterprise, but it's almost there.
It's interesting, right? Because it's an AMD branded drive. It's built by OCZ. If you look at the sticker on the side, it actually has OCZ right across it, right? They're not trying to hide it. They're not doing anything. So it's hard not to compare it to everything else in the OCZ family.
That's true.
Right? And so that's kind of maybe one of the difficult parts we had with the testing and review of this is that it's very similar to so many other products in this family, but if we look at it in terms of this is AMD's first SSD, right? Sure. If we look at it in that respect, it stands out as being a pretty good performer. Price per gigabyte for the 480 gig model was like 62
It was around 62 cents a gig. Yeah, and that's just MSRP. That's not
right. That's
price
MSRP.
Yet.
You know, as they come out, we expect them to be at least a little bit lower. We don't really know how much.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a SATA 6 gigabit per second solid state drive. 120, 240, 480. Is there a 960?
No.
Version of this? No.
Nope.
All these drives kind of max out at 480.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
They do. They could probably make a 960, but I just don't think the.
What about warranty and kind of lifespan specs on this versus other drives?
So the warranty kind of scales, and actually the slide they gave us for warranty just we'll have it included in the review. It's doing the same thing along other. It's mixing it with other OCC products.
Okay.
Right. So let me pull up the slide.
I think this one was 30 gigs a day. The Arc was 20 gigs a day.
That's 30. The Vertex
was 20 gigs a day.
The Vector
was 50 gigs a day.
Yep.
And it was 5-year warranty, 3-year warranty on this.
I believe that's 4.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
the Vector was 5, and it kind of scaled down a little bit from there to the other families. It's an interesting product, right? And the other thing is it is called the Radeon R7 240. There is a video card called the Radeon R7 240, which is a little bit confusing.
Well, the 240 gig capacity is.
Whatever. I think if you look at it on Amazon or Newegg, you're probably not going to be confused that you're buying a video card and instead get an SSD or vice versa.
Well, they're not on the market yet, so if you type in AMD Radeon on Amazon, you're going to get a bunch of
video cards. Yeah. Only video cards, of course. I'm not sure, pricing-wise, what are you looking at the MSRPs on this as well? It was the 480 gig was
480 was just under $300. 240 was 164.
Okay.
And $100 even for the 120.
I mean, that's pretty good. It's competitive.
It's good for the 120.
It's not as low cost as we've seen the M550 recently, or the MX100, or the 840 Evo recently.
True.
But for a starting out point, I think it kind of sets the right expectations, and it allows them a little bit of wiggle room down if they need to.
Yeah, and being AMD branded, I think that's just kind of, they tend to do sales under their brand, right? It's just more known for sales,
maybe
that kind of thing.
They'll do game bundles. I don't know if that's the case, but maybe they would something in the future, bundle it with video cards. Now you can buy video cards and memory and video and processors and
yeah, it's almost like you can just get everything AMD branded if you want to.
Seems like their goal. It seems like their goal. They seem to want to do that.
Yeah, so 4-year warranty.
4-year warranty on this?
On that.
That's good.
Yep.
That's solid. And the Vector was 5, and what was the next step down? Vertex was?
Vertex is the step down. That's 3 years.
Okay.
And they're rating it, so it's 20 gig per day, and then 30 gig per day, and then 50 gig per day for the Vector, but normal users are having a hard time going over 20 gig per day.
I do have a theory that it has R7 branding.
Yeah.
Because R7 is kind of, you would consider that mainstream performance. On the graphics card side, R7 is mainstream,
right?
$150 or less type video cards. Why didn't they use the R9? Right? Why wouldn't they have used the R9 for what is OCZ's top controller? I can only posit that perhaps they're going to make like a PCI Express SSD, like an AMD branded PCIe SSD, and kind of go that way with the R9. I have no idea if that's true.
I think they're going to see how this guy turns out first.
Yeah, see if they really want to do it. But I don't know anything about the business dealings specifically, but it seems like a fairly easy product for AMD and OCZ, right? OCZ is already making products extremely similar to this.
Right.
They're essentially putting a different sticker on it. They have a different retail box. Okay.
Slightly different warranty.
Slightly different warranty. OCZ handles all the support. They handle all of that. Right? It's really AMD branding and AMD sales and kind of bundling and whatever they want to do.
They did add 300,000 hours to the reliability mean time between failure.
They just added it?
So this is, somehow.
It's different somehow.
2.3 million instead of 2 million.
That's probably irrelevant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's probably irrelevant.
I'm not really sure what could be different, since the insides of that is the same.
Are so similar to.
It's maybe they're just soldering them better or something. I don't know.
Somehow I doubt it.
Yeah.
But it's a good. I mean, is it a good drive overall? It's not. It's not burning down the house in terms of wow, this performs better than anything we've seen recently, and it's not. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how inexpensive this is.
Yeah,
and those are kind of the two metrics that we judge our SSDs on today.
In the raw IOs per second, in our iometer tests, we actually saw this guy performing higher than the other 3 of OCC's line.
Oh, okay.
Not by a huge margin. It still was a very
small.
You know, all the lines follow very closely there. So you're talking just within a few percent. But it was interesting that it was like on every one of those tests, it was kind of like a little bit higher, just like pushing it a little further. Maybe they're
progression
clocking
of controller.
Maybe the firmware is a little bit better. Maybe they're just clocking it a little bit higher. Kind of sounds AMD-ish to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
and that kind of sounds like old OCZ a little bit too. But now they can do it under somebody else's brand.
Yes, yes.
All right, as opposed to on their own as well. So that's a plus. So go to PCPer.com, check out the full review. Alan has it up. You can see all the benchmarks, and then you can get a maybe more up-to-date comparison of where it stands in terms of price per gigabyte for those various models. And we'll be back. I'm assuming relatively soon with more SSDs to talk about. So, hey, subscribe to the channel if you want to see that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.